Hi, my name's Lindy Cowling. Welcome to the channel. My website is www.lindycowling.co.uk, email info@lindycowling.co.uk. And the way to contact me for sessions, for bookings, for media, or anything else is via email, please. The title of this video this evening is Sexual Patterning Triggers in Twin Flames, or Sexual Patterning Triggers in Twin Flame Union. One of the things that I love about working with people in sessions the most is every single person is different. Every single person has a story to tell, experiences that are unique to them from their own unique perspective. And what I love about it is that, in a way, you, or when I say you, I mean me, I can help people, but equally, as I'm helping them, I am learning and expanding myself through helping them with their experiences and their perception and their energy. And one of the things I really like is working with people across the spectrum in different categories of connection, where I can bring something to the table, but they also, in the relating of their energy and then the relating of their experience, also bring something to the table. And there is a kind of a learning, a mutual learning, a mutual templating, especially when you're dealing with energetic consciousness. Whether that be twin flames, twin flame unions, soulmates, centenary soulmates, catalysts, conscious connections, conscious relationships. So I just wanted to get that in because this video is inspired by some work I've done this afternoon. And when I'm having knowing and recognition in those sessions, and sometimes I wish that I would kind of record those sessions for my own benefit. I don't mean by handwritten notes, which I do anyway, but almost like a mini seminar, because so much stuff comes out in these sessions that I think, oh God, I wish that would be something that would be great to be saying, to share. So this is inspired by some work I did with a lovely lady this afternoon who is part of Twin Flame Union. So title again, Sexual Patterning Triggers within Twin Flame Union or within Twin Flames. So a pattern that seems to come up very commonly within Twin Flame Union, the original old soul form of that energy, in the male perspective, the most common patterning that comes up is issues to do with their identity. So why I've called this things that triggering that comes up, a triggering scenario in the sexual relations or sexual patterning within twin flames, is this is an experiential and humanitarian channel. So I only speak through the experiences of the clients I'm working with or my experiences personally. And the male aspect of twin flame union, or the masculine aspect of twin flame union, seems to, once intimacy or sexual activity has taken place between the two, the male aspect, the most common stumbling block or the place that they hit first, is issues around their identity. You could ask me, one of the first questions you would ask me, why would these issues come out if you were having intimacy or sexual relations, whichever way you want to call it, with a twin flame? Because a twin flame isn't a normal connection. It's aspects of same soul that is offering the facility for them to come into a 0 point field of consciousness, awake, aware, authentic, the authentic them minus programming, beliefs, etc. But they are also doing that for the blood families and the soul families. So it's not a normal connection, it's a connection of transformation for them, but the families they are in, blood families and soul families. So everything is on that kind of level and dynamic. So why these things can occur without sexual activity or intimacy, but I'm, for the purposes of this video, referring to when they come up as a result of having sexual activity. These patterns come up straight after, or in the hours after, or the minutes after, or the days after, or the months after, or ongoing, you know, every time they have any intimacy. And the reason it comes up then is because once that very physical, shall we say, not just energetic, but physical boundary has been crossed, with twin flames in particular, they are then not just clearing previous sexual history out of their energy fields or ongoing sexual history out of their energy fields, but they're also clearing the distortions and patterns within the soul family and blood family, patterns of abuse, patterns of incest, patterns of infidelity, I guess, the affair-like scenario, sexual dysfunctional patterns. They're clearing all of those kind of things out of the way to purify and transform so that they can run through them, their energy field, uninterrupted in a way, pure intimacy energy, which has very little to do with sex, but is a higher vibration of the expression of energy. So there's why these patterns come up then is because I could almost word it as a crossover of energy. There's that crossover with the Kundalini energy as well, and the kind of sacred sexuality energy, all merged into the same melting pot. And so it often comes up then. Now, again, this is an experiential channel, which means I talk from experience, personal experience and professional. And I've had, over the years, personal experience of that and professional many times. So the most common patterning or triggering to happen in that instance, either during that time or immediately afterwards or close to that time or ongoing until it's resolved, is in the male aspect of the connection or twin flame union. It is triggering and patterning around their identity. Who does he think, or the masculine element think, they are in the world, their place in the world? What action are they taking in the world? Who are they as the father or the husband or the head of the family or the head of a corporation? Who are they in the workplace? Who are they in this physical, tangible earth, in this planet? Who are they in their idea and perception of reality? Now, I'm not going to be blasé about it because they get slam dunked extremely hard with this, and their identity gets hit far harder than it does in the feminine aspect, and I'll explain that in a minute. So these things come up for them, and it's not an easy task because the male aspect particularly views the world and the perception of the world through their status and identity. Now, I am generalizing, and I'm aware that there may be many very clued up, wired in, spiritual, beautiful, masculine energies that are watching this that says, that's not me at all. And actually, I'm very clued up. And I'm only generalizing here. And I totally appreciate that there are masculine energies out there that are totally of the heart, totally authentic, totally understand who they are and are not tied up in their identity. So I'm generalizing for people that are activating or have activated in this way. I'm generalizing. And generally across the world, globally, the masculine element of the energy is entangled with or gets entangled with their perception of their identity in the world, their status in the world, action in the world, tangible things in the world. They entangle them as an authentic being that gets lost in identity. Underneath the layer of identity, there are other things, and you could track to these things by going back through my Revealing the Core Soul Wound video on my channel, where I go step by step how to do that, because underneath the masculine element of identity are things like religion aspects of it, their idea of, again, it's entangled with identity, entangled with religion. The inner child aspect of it, how they were brought up, what they were told as children or not told, what events happened to them in childhood gets tangled up with it, how they were programmed by their families, and I use the word programmed, nature and nurture kind of thing, how they were brought up, how their belief systems and view of the world were influenced by their families primarily, and their friends, their peer groups, their education, etc. So identity is entangled with their religious beliefs, their spiritual beliefs, and the inner child aspects, how they were brought up, what happened in their childhood, the peer group around them, friends, schools, education, family, etc. The most common emotion to come out of I just heard the sound over there. The most common emotion to come out of the male at that time is anger, repressed and suppressed anger, and guilt. A profound sense of guilt, all entangled with their understanding of who they are in the world, because they don't have a clue who they are in the world. I'm generalizing. I'm talking in the early stages of an awakening or early stages of twin flame union. So I'm going to repeat that again. The masculine element or the male element or masculine energy, the most common places they get entangled with, especially when triggered through sexual or intimacy awakening with a twin flame union or triggering programming, is they get entangled with their idea of their place in the world, their identity, action, physicality, status, entangled with their status, how they are seen in the world. They get lost in that, entangled in it, underneath it. If you look underneath it, and how to do that is in my Core Soul Wound video, you find worldwide, globally, and I've seen this personally as well, is religion and then inner child stuff. Won't always be those two dynamics. It might be different. You can bet your bottom dollar inner child stuff's in there, almost certainly. I would say almost across the board. It might not be religion, that's very commonplace, but it might be something else. But in this example, religion, then inner child stuff. So how they were brought up and their idea of identity through the eyes of the religion that they were indoctrinated with, and what happened to them in their childhood, what they were programmed with in their childhood, events, experiences, how they were brought up, and then the extended village, town, peer pressure, friends, etc. The most common emotions to come up with the male and how he expresses being stuck in this way, or how the masculine expression, the masculine part of us, or the masculine part of the duo, if you like, express. That is the emotion most common there is anger and guilt. Let us not forget good old-fashioned fear, anger and guilt. If they cannot find an outlet for that or understand where that's coming from, fear of the person that brought that up in them, or the circumstances that brought that up in them. And, hence you get the stepping back, or what people call the running. The feminine aspect, or the female aspect of the couple or the twin flame union or the one soul being or the soul connection or whatever you want to say here, they are wired differently and they will express almost entirely emotionally via the pain body and the emotions. They will be, again, triggered on behalf of the soul family and the blood family, and ultimately the collective as well. So on having sexual relations or intimate relations, this triggering and patterning comes up, and they also will be trying to purge and neutralize and transform any other sexual energies in there or around their template and in their energy field. They will also be doing it on behalf of the twin and what's in theirs as well, and also on behalf of the blood family and soul family. How the female usually translates this is through a wall of emotion, and it doesn't seem really to play out along the category of guilt. In all the years that I've been doing this work, I have barely come across a feminine aspect of energy that expresses guilt in this connection. That doesn't seem very often to come up, and I'm generalizing using my experience, professional and personal. I can't say that guilt doesn't come up for the feminine, but I'm generalizing that's not the top one that comes up. What usually comes up with them in terms of identity is nothing like the male. The identity thing doesn't come up for the female virtually at all across the board. It's all emotional expression, emotional feelings, the emotional feeling of love, the emotional feeling of connection. They question, they do question the primary connection they're in, their marriage or relationship they're in, their connection, the relationship to themselves, to the world, their connection to the twin or the aspect of same soul. They question all these things, but guilt and identity is rarely in there. Now, when they have an expression of emotion, it can be quite overwhelming because usually it's kind of like a burst of a lot of emotions. Underneath it, I mean, in there is all that lovely old fear again. Fear about being seen, self-worth, fear about being abandoned, fear about it going wrong, all of these kind of big ones. But it's interesting when you dig underneath that again by doing the same things, having a look, if you're a feminine aspect watching this or a female aspect watching this, look at the core soul wound video again, track back to what's underneath the leading emotions for you. So what are the overwhelming emotions for you? Is it fear of being on your own or abandoned or being truly seen for who you are? Is it fear of loss? Is it love, that kind of expression of love, overwhelming love? What is the overriding emotion there? And have a look at, is that coming from here and now, or is that coming from the soul family, the blood family? Is it coming from underneath a core soul wound? In other words, expression as a dam, a tsunami of emotions, but what is underneath it? What are the lead emotions in the way you're feeling? And have a look underneath it at the core soul wound. Core soul wound meaning what's happened to your soul in multiple ways, multiple fashions, in multiple timelines, that has created a solar memory, a solar cellular memory in the soul that gets triggered, especially in twin flame union. But it can, core soul wounds come up in all connections, but twin flame union is the most polarized, being a one soul being in that aspect. Heavy soul energy. Also, the feminine or female aspect needs to look at inner child work. There is a video on my channel telling you how to do that and how to track that back, how to do that as well. So I won't kind of spend the time saying it again now. So you can track back on that, seeing what happened to them in their childhood, What themes came up, and are they influencing what's coming up now? Because you can bet your bottom dollar again, almost always inner child stuff does. And again, the reason these aspects come up after sexual intimacy is because there is a kind of mix of energy going on there, because the highest form of sexual energy, you know, that intimate expression, is nothing like, let's say, conventional sex. It's nothing like that. And again, you can track back on videos I brought out nearly 4 years ago now on that. Very early videos on my channel within the first year or two. You can track back on them, you know, with an explanation of that and why. But again, the most common themes that come up at those times are not usually, it's usually immediately after or in the hours that follow or the days that follow. Feeling terrible, common behaviour for one or both of them is to pull back, step back, be overwhelmed with emotion. Sometimes it's about the situation they're in now, you know, because they might be in other situations as well as around each other. But it's not just that. It's not just that. That's one aspect of it, but they tend to put all their eggs in one basket and think that's all of it. They need to dig deeper at what's underneath it. So I'm not saying for one moment that those emotions they're feeling aren't valid, and they aren't about the situation they're in now or how they feel now or how they feel about their life now or one another and all the complications that might be going on around them. What I'm saying is that is part of that cake, part of that cosmic cake, and not all of it. And if only I had known now, you know, the stuff I know now, if only I'd have known it then, it would have been so much easier. But if you are in a connection like that, look deeper into what's coming up. Don't have a knee-jerk response on whatever's coming up for one or both of you. Have a look underneath at the core soul wound stuff, the inner child stuff, because all of those gizmos come up when they can come up at any time in the union, but they particularly do seem to come to light when sexual intimacy has taken place or is taking place. Because there are other energies like heightened, then, you know, kundalini and all sorts of gizmos, and that's it, the higher expression of intimacy is being encouraged really to go up through the upper chakras. So everything is being cleansed, if you like, at the lower vibratory rate of anything that doesn't match that higher form of intimacy, the intimacy vibratory rate. It would also be the same as also they at the same time simultaneously clearing, purging, cleansing the patterning in the family, soul family and blood family of all the sexual innuendos, you know, that have been going on as well. So there's a lot going on there. It's not a normal, you know, having fun, you know, under the covers malarkey, if you know what I mean. It's far more complicated than that. So I hope that helps. I'm just giving you the heads up, so to speak, you know, identifying it as I have seen it and experienced it over the years. And why this has come about today is the work I was doing today within Twin Flame Union, which was highlighting some things which I felt were worth sharing, actually, which will help a lot of people, because it's a theme that comes up over and over again all over the world. Definitely came up for me. Very, very much so between the years of 2010 and 2013. On that note, I will love you and leave you. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thank you for contributing to me as the channel in all the ways that you do. Take care. I'll probably be on camera again, maybe once, maybe twice more before Christmas. Then I'm going to have a break for a bit. And to be honest, after that, in the first week of January, I am having to do some packing because I will be moving home. Hallelujah. I will be moving home between the end of January and the first week in February. So I will take a couple of weeks off at Christmas, one to be with my family, and the other week I'm going to be packing like mad with my family. They're going to be helping me to move home in you know, the weeks that follow. Sessions will be as normal in January. I will be working, but then I'll have to take, a week or two off when I do the move again and get the internet organised and just get unpacked and things like that in February. But sessions will be as normal. I'm working right up to just before Christmas. I'm more or less booked up now, but sessions are open for January, so they're going quickly. So if you want to book in, drop me an email and we can do that. Love you guys. Look after yourselves and see you soon. Bye.